Yes, legends, how's everybody doing? Let's analyze the situation here. For the price of Bitcoin, it does look a bit choppy. It looks a bit bearish. Are we going to get the breakdown, or will we manage to bounce here from this consolidation of the last few weeks, guys? Make sure to absolutely destroy that like button on your way in. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, and we'll dive in right away, guys, on the several scenarios that we're looking at. Okay, it doesn't look that great, guys. It kind of looks very bearish, I have to say. The charts look bearish. The drop from the other day, you know, do we have an impulse right over here? Are we just on the formation of that fifth wave? You know, we're going to be analyzing the situation. Today's a big day, guys. We do have the FOMC economic projections Fed press conference. That is in about 5 hours from now, guys. Okay, interest rate decision. We know that it's very likely that there's not going to be any movements. So is it kind of priced in already? We'll be analyzing the charts most importantly. And I'm going to go through the comment section and say hello to the beautiful community. Of course, as always, destroy the like button if you do enjoy the content, legends. If you do like the content, you do like watching my opinion, technical analysis, if you think it's a bunch of crap, you can also dislike if you want. But it does give me a little bit of hype and support, right? So I can do the best technical analysis if possible, right? On the channel. So let's go right away, say hello to the beautiful community. We do have 𝗬𝗏𝗽 here in the stream. Yes, the legend himself, 𝗤cie𝗂𝗿𝗃. Good afternoon. My man, Oriel, hello. 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗽𝗃, here she is. 𝗬𝗏𝗏1, the legend, the realist trader in the YouTube game who's better than Andy. Who's better than Andy and 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗽? Thank you guys for keeping it real with the audience. You're very welcome, my man. Phantom, 𝗬𝗏𝗏1, 𝗬𝗏𝗏1 relief. Guys, let me know here on the votes. Today's FUMC today and also interest rate decision. Doesn't matter, both of them. Bearish, big drop loadings. 64% are actually quite bearish with today. The charts don't look that great. Yeah. You know, it doesn't look, it looks very exhausting. It does look exhausting. I need to focus on what is happening in this range. But when you do zoom out, guys, holy moly, right? It does look like 2021 vibe where you just hit the highs, no price discovery, and double top, right? Not saying that we are going to get into a bear market here, guys. If we were to correct down, you know, the highest probability is that we do push up to all-time high. Trend is very, very bullish. The you know, the scenarios right now is, you know, are we looking at a double top similar to the 2021 price action, right? We did not manage to get to price discovery, right? Continuation, double top, nasty one. But this is why it's extremely important to to focus. Sorry about that. To focus on the local time frame. What is happening throughout the last 2 weeks? What has been happening throughout this drop, throughout this pump, throughout this drop, throughout the drop that we had in the last couple of days? What is happening in this range right now? Is there a chance, right? For the moment, is the triangle still in play? Is it still in play? Well, as we talked about this yesterday, we did get one small little bounce of a couple of $1,000, okay, from yesterday's drop. You know, it does look like it wants to roll over right now. The overall question right now, is this a 5-wave structure getting developed at the moment, right? It did hit the common 4th wave target, which is a 50% Fibonacci from that pivot high to the pivot low, right? Between 382 and 50%, that is the common zone for this. And right now we are going to claim those lows. We're going to form a 5-wave structure. We're in the 5th wave potentially, right? That is something that obviously, you know, we could not deny, right? From the highs that we did create here on Tuesday. You know, if you wanted to attempt the short position, well, in between 382 and 50% is your entry point. You are targeting the lows, right? That is your target zone, regardless if it does break down successfully or not. Your level to short is in between 382 and 50%, which is 105 to 105.5K. Invalidation, of course, being your wave 1 or the golden pocket, which is literally where your wave 1 is. And, you know, you're targeting the lows. There is a bullish case scenario. There is a bullish case scenario, of course there is. And that is actually forming a higher low. Basically where are we at? We could be getting a little bit of movement to the downside, of course, right? We are. But it's literally holding this zone and getting a bounce to the upside to claim $106,000 and $107,000 possibly. And that, of course, is holding a higher low here, right? Can the bulls maintain a higher low? Because there is a bullish case scenario looking at this as a zigzag move to the downside and now forming a double zigzag to the upside, right? We've packed with zigzaggy moves throughout the entire range of the last few weeks, right? Very 3-wave structure environment, right? Which is potentially forming that triangle on the higher time frame, right? That triangle that we have been discussing throughout the last few days. So far, so good. We did get a rejection from the 108 to 109K zone, which was faking out above the value area high. Was very much aware of this situation just a few days ago to get back down here to the 103, 104K zone to see if we are going to get that bounce, right? So we did move up, we got rejected, we came down to the mid 103K levels, right, where we have the point of control. We did get a reaction bounce. So now it's like, this is the last line in the sand if we are going to be, you know, still in favor of this possible scenario, which is a triangle. And of course, there is that bullish case, of course, guys, that we are going to discuss on the lower time frame to get that bounce possibly to 106, 107K zone, right? So far, this is one of the scenarios that could have developed that we mentioned a few days ago. So we did get the rally. We did reject from this point. And now we locally, with this drop, we have two scenarios. Eventually, the bearish one and the bullish one. The bullish one is getting that small little rally to $106,000, $107,000. Today's a big day, guys. It is a big day. All right. And of course, the bearish case scenario is looking at this local move as an impulsive move, right? So let's discuss that, right? For the moment, we are moving down. We are moving down here. All right, so we go to the lower time frames. It is getting the drop here, guys. It's not looking too great, but this is the zone that should get the bounce. There is a possible swing failure pattern that could happen in this area. Of course, the most bearish case scenario here is looking at this as an impulse, as explained just a few minutes ago, right? Where this is your wave 3, perfect wave 4, not overlapping your wave 1. You're hitting 50% Fibonacci, right? 382, 50% Fibonacci zone. And now we are just developing the fifth wave. It is without a doubt a possibility. All right, let's leave it that way. This movement, this bounce was very three wavy, not managing to really break through this high and just rolling back down. Okay, so I mean, this was your best shorting opportunity area somewhere in this zone, purely based on Elliott Wave theory, keeping it simple. 1, 2, 3. You're looking for your fourth wave to not get above the 50% Fibonacci successfully. And then we're rolling down here to claim the lows of yesterday. So let's see how we react at this zone, legends, because there could be a bullish case, but let's see a little bit of a sign of strength here, first of all, right? Because if this is going to be bearish, right, what we would want to see is this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, and this third wave should be breaking down now in the next coming 30 minutes, 1 hour, give or take, right? It should be breaking down very, very aggressively to complete that wave 5. What if we do not break down in the next coming minutes, right? What are the other scenarios? What if we do suddenly get a nice rally? The moment we start hitting this lower high, I will be flipping bullish to claim these highs of today, right? This could be a little bit of a risky long position. This is like yesterday trying to catch the low. I mean, it did play out in the end. We did bounce a few $1,000s. It's a risky bet considering the bearish case scenario, which is forming a 5-wave structure to the downside to claim those lows of yesterday. So what do we need to see here? Eventually, if your short trade today should have been in this zone, okay? Zigzag move up. This is the moment that you want to speculate on that fourth wave and you want to get into that short position. Stop loss is relatively clear. If you're using Elliott Wave theory, you do not want to overlap your wave 1. So that is where you would put your stop loss, right? Where the golden pocket from this high to the low is. And you are targeting the lows, right? Giving you a risk to reward of 3 to 1 approximately, right? Give or take. So, shorting down here for me is not an option. Today's short position was here if you wanted to take the short. I'm more interested in longs on this drop. Do I want a long here? Well, I'm considering this scenario. If, it does look a little bit bearish, it does look a little bit aggressive. So trying to get into a long position right now on a higher low here, I'll leave it for the brave, right? I was pretty brave yesterday, did get into a long position, didn't take much profits. I did think that we were going to, go to higher levels. I do believe that that is still a possibility. And this is why I'm going to explain the next trading setup, which would be a long position Not interested in longing right now with this drop. I am aware of a 1 2 1 2 boom 3, right, 4 5 4 5. We actually, get below the lows of yesterday. And the bullish case scenario, we need a sign of strength, right? When we talk about a sign of strength or a sign of weakness, we want to see this downtrend of today flip, right? A potential break of trend could be an option here. And what we could be looking at is a double zigzag to the upside. Yeah, this might not happen. The bearish case looks more probable. It's not looking too great, right? Who wants to jump into a long position right now? Understanding that this could be the scenario. Well, if you manage risk, you can attempt it. Stop loss should be the lows. Entry, you want to get the best level. You can take the shot here, and you would be targeting above these highs, right, to start taking profit. Now, this scenario comes with the possibility of forming a double zigzag, right, where you have a zigzag move to the upside here. Then you see this as a possible double zigzag complex correction move. Also, it's just right now, it doesn't look that great, we have to say, right? It doesn't look extremely great at the moment. There is another bullish case scenario that I want to explain right away. But you would be looking at this as a zigzag, complex correction in your wave X, and then another move here to the upside to form another three-wave structure, which has been forming throughout the last few weeks, right? Three-wave move up. This counts better. Well, this is a three-wave for the moment. Now the question is, could we manage to form a higher low here? That is the overall question, right? But there is a better way to get into a long position, just as explained yesterday, where instead of catching the low, you want to look for a bullish reaction bounce, right? Where the correction can be an option to get into a long position, and you are really targeting the highs as your take profit. One, preferably you want that third wave to actually break out, but when you consolidating and you're losing the highs, you definitely want to consider take profit, right? So this is the same option right now. I think for the best long position, if you want to be an aggressive, right, only for the brave, stop loss invalidation for this scenario is the lows. This zone, let's see if it does hold. For the brave people that want to jump into a long, this level could bounce. For the more conservative people, just as yesterday, we wait for a bounce, we wait for a retracement, and the 50% to the 7/8 Fibonacci becomes our interest zone, that's where we bounced yesterday. You are targeting the highs. Your proper invalidation is the lows. The risk to reward, not too great, more like a 1.5 to 1 risk to reward. I did get into a long position here, didn't take enough profits, I have to say, right? Not sure if I'm still in that long position. Still in the long position right there from yesterday. Position is protected. This was I did let the people know in the Telegram group, guys, that I was entering that long position, okay? The long position was told in the Telegram group, guys. If you are interested, there was an epic short position that was provided today that was, really, really good. Nice take profits being hit on an altcoin, guys. If you are interested in joining the Telegram, you have the link down below in the description, guys, to join the Signals group, right, where you do have the information every day, the setups that I am looking for, mainly Bitcoin, and telling you where I'm entering, where I'm taking some profits. There is a bearish case scenario, okay, and just giving a bit of guidance, right, on where are my trades being placed. You do have the link down below, guys, for the Telegram, okay? So make sure to join to get more information on that. Let's go here with the other scenario, okay? Of course, another bullish case scenario. Phew. This is definitely possible. Where would I want to get into a long position? Instead, I'm risking here for the higher low. This is the same as yesterday. We talked about the possible bounce. Your much better stop loss if you want to stay chilled and calm. If you're entering this level, stop loss at the low. We are looking for a significant bounce. Of course, this bounce is not playing ball at the moment. But anyway, what can we say? We were expecting a bounce here based on the triangle scenario. We're not claiming this higher low, right? So yeah, that so far it did get the bounce. If you know, we still have the chance to form a 3-wave structure here. Okay, that is still very valid, very, very valid, guys. Okay, so understanding the bearish case here locally, this is only for the brave, right? Only for the brave to get in this zone. You know, your invalidation has to be the low. But there is a better way to get into this trading setup, which I will explain right away, guys. Okay, instead of trying to say, okay, what if the bearish case happens, right? Which is this one right over here, where you have a 5-wave move to the downside. You know, it's pretty clear, right? Why would you want to go against this local downtrend, right? It is true, right? You know, why would I want to go through this, you know, long position trying to speculate on a higher low here? Well, if you wanted to do so, you just need to lower your capital here inside of this trade, right, as your invalidation. But there is a better way to get into this long, guys, and I will explain it. We might have it on stream. We might have it on stream if we do get a reaction bounce, to then play the zigzag structure, right, which would be a double zigzag scenario, which has been packed of double zigzags throughout the last few weeks, right? If we do zoom out here on the 1-hourly time frame, it has been packed with double zigzag moves, right? This movement to the downside does count better as a corrective structure. This was explained on the stream. There's been overlap here with your wave 4 and your wave 1. You know, you're looking at a possible expanding move then. Well, expanding move, your wave 5 needs to be longer than your wave 3. That was not the case. You know, there's many red flags for this to be a leading move to the downside, okay? Which means you will not break successfully in a wave 3 here. Could you claim the lows? Absolutely. This is definitely a scenario, but ultimately it will still be bullish, as we are not counting this movement to the downside as a wave 1. So it's either an A wave, it's either a W wave, right? Which is all part of a corrective structure that eventually, you know, comes and claims the highs at some point in the next coming weeks, right? All-time highs. That is, you know, very, very important to understand. Of course, this range here is getting very, very complex. But, you know, the thing is here, the entire movement, especially from this low right over here, you got this 3-wave move to the upside. This is counted better as a 3-wave move down. This is why I entered a long position on Friday's drop at the point of control recovery. And we had a 3-wave move to the upside here. And for the moment, we have a 3-wave down. Now it's all in this movement if we are going to get a 5-wave move to the downside, right? So this is why this local zone is becoming very interesting. So let's just explain here, right? I don't want to short down here, right? You know, could we drop to the lows? Absolutely. But the short should have been taken from this lower high right over here, right? Where we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4th wave needs to reject in between 382 and 50%, which is what it did. And you don't want it to overlap here, this pivot, right? Which is your stop loss zone. So let's talk about the possible long to claim the highs of today, right? Today's highs. Where would you get into the long, right? Well, if we do get that bounce, okay, and we claim this pivot, a break of trend would be a possibility. It could be a little bit aggressive. Break of trend of this descending channel-y trend that we have today. But it would be much better to get that pump, and the retracement in this point will be a moment of interest to speculate on that long position, right? So what we need right now is a sign of strength. Okay, stop loss would be the recent lows that have been formed, and we are targeting at least the highs and maybe a push to the upside to get above $106,000, $107,000, right? So, you know, this long becomes dangerous if you want to long this drop, understanding the bearish case scenario. So really, it's kind of not worth it, right? What is most important in trading is preserve capital as well, right? We want to make money, but we also want to preserve our money, right, on the exchanges, right? We want to try and keep the profits that we make. So taking bad decisions sometimes is like, yeah, let's wait for a sign of strength. which eventually would be claiming the last lower high of this downtrend, understanding that this ride over here will no longer look impulsive or a leading move to the downside. You're claiming the last lower high, and that means that this could give you the potential of getting a zigzag move up, complex corrective structure, and then you're looking for another zigzag to the upsides to complete a larger double zigzag. It doesn't look too great now at the moment. This is why a sign of strength, understanding the bearish case scenario, right? We can't only lean extremely bullish or extremely bearish, especially when we're looking for day trading setups. When I zoom out, and I do know that this is a possibility, but I do know that this is a possibility also. So when I have a bearish and a bullish case, it's time to remain a little bit patient and look for a sign of strength, which for me would be pretty obvious. The moment you claim that last lower high here, it's going to be a moment of sign of strength, which means that a movement to the upside, this movement to the upside would be, you know, very, very likely, right? Almost guaranteed. You can't say guaranteed in trading, right? But almost guaranteed, right? Giving a high probability for that push to the upside if you claim that last lower high. So instead of getting into a bad decision here, right? Oh, it doesn't need to be bad, right? You might, you know, if it does manage to hold this zone, you will be literally catching the low, right? But there would be another option for getting into this long position. You got the extreme risky one, which is this one, and you got the more conservative one that gives you higher probability, but you are going to enter a little bit later, right? But anyway, usually that sign of strength would give you a little bit of more confidence, right? To get into the long position, right? To claim those highs and potentially get an extra push, maybe to 107K, right? For the moment, I know a lot of people are going to say that is a bunch of rubbish. It's bearish, right? So let's see. I mean, the bearish case scenario is definitely here. We're to the downside, which is completing that 5-wave structure, right? Damn, I was thirsty, legends. Let me just go through the comment section and see what's going on. For the moment, the price is losing it. It is losing it. It's not looking too great. NASDAQ, not really doing much. Bitcoin here at one of the last fib levels, which is the 7/8 Fibonacci, 0.88 preferably, is not touched. So it is time right now to see some proof of support in this area, okay? It is time to see some proof of support, and let's see what happens. If we do get the drop and claim the lows, then we potentially in the development of a 5-wave structure. Is there any good long position after breaking down here, right? If we were to break down from this area and claim those lows, is there a valid long position? That is the question, right? We want to be a little bit careful catching falling knives, but is there an option once this low is claimed? Is there any good support levels, right? Could we swing failure pattern from one of the lows here to get a bounce? I have to say it is going to be a little bit risky. After forming a 5-wave structure to the downside, you know, you're eventually going to look for some kind of a bounce, right? If you move down in a 5-wave structure here, you're eventually looking for the 5th wave to finish. So a swing failure pattern from either the lows of yesterday or the lows here from Friday, last Friday, is going to be a possible option here, okay, legends? It's going to be a little bit difficult, but you know, we might get that. We might get that support here. Let's see. This long position is only for the brave, okay? Only for the brave, and only for people that are managing risk very, very well. Let's go through the comment section, say hello to the beautiful community, and see what's going on here in the comment section, right? And say hello to everybody. I can see 𝗬𝗍𝘆 was here, guys. Shout out to 𝗬𝗍𝘆, guys. If you don't know who 𝗬𝗍𝘆 is, make sure to go and check him out. He provides insane analysis, setups. You know, he really looks at, you know, educating very, very well. Make sure to go and check out 𝗬𝗍𝘆, guys. You have him here. 𝗬𝗍𝘆 Trading. If you type 𝗬𝗍𝘆 Trading here, you will find him, and he's absolutely insane. He's also a coach in the Legends trading community. Relevant stuff today. Today is going to be one of those trades that I'm going to feel like I want to be closing, you know, most of my positions, or at least taking a significant profit Well, not on this long trade. This is about to get stopped out. Let's see if that does play out. But today's one of those days, guys, that you want to kind of collect some profits, right, from your trading setups, because volatility is expected. Volatility is expected today, and you just want to be better safe than sorry, right? If you have any positions that are open very close to your, if the position is open very close to when we get the FOMC news and interest rate decision, sometimes it's better to step away, guys, right? Step away, because the volatility, right? It might be a dump and a pump, right? It might be a pump and dump, and if you are trading in this zone somewhere, it's kind of not worth it, because the outcome is very, very unpredictable, I would like to say. Let's go through the comment section. We are actually forming some interesting bullish CBD divergence, but yeah, there's some Bybit aggressive traders that have been going long here, very aggressively on this drop, but we do have some lower lows, which is interesting, right? That can, there is people shorting this, and I will understand why they're shorting here in this zone to claim the lows as a take profit one. That is the simple factor of a, fifth wave to the downside here, right, to claim those lows. Well, there is some aggressive short positions entering here. We do have some bullish CVD divergence. We can see all those shorts entering in this zone that might get squeezed if the if the bullish case does happen. Lots of shorts piling up here with this movement down. Looking at the delta, which is eventually, it is good. It is good to get a squeeze. So let's see if we do find some proof of support here before claiming the lows. And, once we see a first initial sign of strength, maybe claiming this lower high, we could be getting that leg up here, guys. Okay. But first of all, let's see proof of support without claiming those lows. Whoever got into a short today, based on the Elliott Wave theory, would arguably discuss. Congratulations. Very good. I would defend that trading setup if the price does reclaim that lower high. I have no doubt that this is going to happen if we get to this high over here. Okay, the last lower high, if it is claimed on this local downtrend, I am looking for a move up to claim at least the highs of today. So let's see if that does happen. We want to see that proof of support right now, which is literally at the point of control on Bybit of this entire range, right? That is the zone that is holding for the moment. So we are at a very interesting level for the bulls. The bulls need to step in here if we are going to go with the general idea of forming a zigzag, double zigzag to the upside, and look for that potential triangle, right? Triangle formation, which one of them would be this one. We do have another triangle scenario, which would be literally the bottom, right? This would be the end, meaning that we head up to all-time high. Not too sure about this scenario. I think another high, lower high, and another low, and this is actually bullish, guys. But with today, with the interest rate decision and the FOMC economic projection, if the news is going to be bad, guys, we could be looking at the bearish case scenario, right, which is literally breaking down at some stage. We're still leaning on the technicals. Technicals does say to us that this is a corrective structure. We do have many options, right, such as the triangle, such as we did have this idea of the flat, but I think this one we're going to throw it in the bin at the moment, very soon, because this is literally getting a leg up here to claim $110,000. It is still an option. It is still an option. However, this option is decreasing massively in probabilities. And the main reason why, if you are going to be forming that flat move, a flat structure right now, which is literally an A wave, a B wave here, and then a C wave down to finish the WXY in your flat, well, there is a little bit of a problem at the moment. Of course, if this were to be a large double zigzag to form your B wave, that you have retraced to the 0.88 Fibonacci, right? Even the 7.8 Fibonacci, for a double zigzag to happen, it is extremely rare. to retrace all the way down to the 7/8 Fibonacci, or the, you know, basically getting below the 70% Fibonacci retracement of the pump, it really decreases the probability in getting a double zigzag. It's still there, but the probabilities are low at the moment. So yeah, it is still a scenario. It is still a scenario that could happen, right? Where you have your A wave, and now you need the double zigzag, right? Zigzag here and a zigzag to the upside, but this retracement has been too deep, okay, which significantly, you know, decreases the possibilities here for this scenario. But it's still there. It's still there. You know, people would be pretty much surprised if that were to be the case. If we do get, you know, pump in the next coming hours for some reason, I think this, you know, it will be bearish, okay? I think it will be bearish. And I'm very interested in a short position if it does manage to, out of nowhere, you know, claim $110,000. And the main reason why this is an epic short position, if we were to rally between today and tomorrow, all the way up to those levels, which seems like pretty impossible looking at the structure at the moment. Very low probabilities for this to happen, but it still could happen. You know, I don't know if it was going to happen. There's low probabilities, but if it were to happen, right? I'm not saying that this is going to happen. If it were to happen and we get a rally out of nowhere to get above 110,700, which is these lower highs, this is a very, very good short position for a swing failure pattern. And you know, the main reason why is because you have moved up from this low in a three-wave structure. There's no doubt about it. This is a three-wave move up, okay? So it's not looking great for the bulls for the moment. If we were to get a rally, right, all the way up here, there is the possibility of getting to all-time highs, but it's, you know, it's very choppy. It looks a bit bearish. This would be a good swing failure pattern, just understanding the possibility of a flat here, right? And I would be targeting maybe, you know, potentially the lows. It's just a good swing. It's a good short, guys. You know, sweep up the highs and move down. Low probability that we get up there. And the main reason why of that low probability is because of this retracement that we had in the last 24 hours, right? Zigzag move up. If you want to form a double zigzag, preferably you get to the 50% golden pocket and then you form another zigzag move up here. This retracement is too deep, which, you know, gives you low probabilities for this scenario. Okay, so that is it's like an unlikely scenario. So we just need to stick with the other options, right? Which is the triangle, right? Holding by a thread for this to get a bounce. You know, the reaction is there. The reaction is happening in this zone. This is where the bulls need to hold this area. They need to hold this area. And it's still not looking good for that double zigzag because we already claimed the 7/8 Fibonacci. And if, you know, with the double zigzag, you want to not get below the 70%. So yeah, there's, you know, it's bears are leading the battle here, guys. You know, we need to say that the bears are leading the battle, not giving many options for the bulls here. Not giving many options for the bulls, and the bears are leading this movement down for the moment. So we definitely need to see a sign of strength right now. Is there a bullish case scenario here? You know, is there another bullish case scenario if we're not considering a double zigzag? Yeah, it's just not looking good for the bulls. I have to say, this does look very three-wavy. It's a very, very three-wavy move. You know, if you're looking at, you know, your imagination here, if this were to be an impulse, you know, a flat structure, this is taking extremely long for a flat. You know, bulls are running out of options here. Let's stay honest. You know, bulls are running out of options. So bears are definitely leading the way to the downside. And, you know, looking at the structure, it does seem like that there is right now, understanding the drop since Tuesday, that there is higher probability, right, in claiming this low However, if the bulls manage to claim 104,900, there is an extreme high chance that we do get above 105.5, which is the highs of today, right? So this is our key level, right? And I know it is a bit of a dangerous area to jump into the long, preferably want to see some kind of a pullback, because, you don't want to ape in the long as soon as you're hitting a high. So, that pullback is going to be very much necessary. We could, if we do get that movement up, we can analyze this situation. But for the moment, probabilities are really decreasing based on this movement down. Right? And, multiple 1-2 setup with a third wave down could be the option here. Right? It is downtrending. For the bullish case, for the bull scenarios, there's not too many options. There's not really too many options at the moment. We need to hold this area. Let's keep it that way. The flat here, if this were to be an impulsive move up, and this is a flat, and this flat is developed by a expanding move, which is already rare. The problem with this ABC flat here, if you are considering this an ABC flat, there is a 5-wave move up here when you take a look at the chart on the 1-minute time frame. There is a nice 5-wave little structure. The problem with this ABC flat, it is, I don't know, 6-7 times longer than this movement up, which obviously decreases the probability, but it would be an option. It is still a chance. Keeping it clear, the bulls need to defend this zone. They need to defend basically a higher low in this area without claiming the lows. So it actually pops out and claims those highs. For either an ABC, right? Well, ABC, if this were to be a flat, which is extremely long in time. I'm not favoring it, guys. Time really decreases probabilities, right? When a corrective wave or the next wave is 5 times longer than your first wave, well, it just decreases the probability a lot, right? But it's not an invalidation, but probabilities decrease a lot. Okay, so the bears are really kind of winning this battle, and if the bulls want to win the battle, they need to step in right now, and sign of strength would be claiming this lower high eventually, right, to get that pop out to claim these highs right over here. Okay, so if you are considering, if you are looking at this as an ABC flat, the C wave is an expanding move. C waves need to have 5-wave structure. Okay, expanding flats are very, very rare. Expanding diagonals, are very, very rare. Okay, so you just don't give it the highest probability at the moment. We need to claim this high. So yeah, it's just an interesting zone, considering for the scalpers and day traders. Bears are definitely, without a doubt, winning the battle here. You have the 5-wave structure to the downside. Everything is, not looking too great for the moment. And, for the moment, this is what we're looking at. Claim those lows of yesterday. If the bulls do not step in this zone for the zigzag move to the upside, at least, right, we're looking for that 3rd wave to the upside if we are going to continue in that triangle. Let's go right away and go through the comment section, see what the community is saying. We got over 800 people. Got my dog barking. We got 800 people on the stream, guys. Make sure to destroy the like button if you do enjoy the content. You just double check how many likes we do have. If you do like the analysis, volume is good. Yes, all good here. Let's go right away and go through comment section. I can see Mark Dutch probably somewhere. Where's Mark Dutch? Suzanne, hello. Much love to you. Jake, send it. Send it up or send it down, guys. We have today's votes looking very interesting. FOMC today, right? Interest rate decision, the news. Bearish, big drop loading. People are leaning more bearish, guys. 59% are leaning bearish on today's news. 41% are leaning bullish. Big pump loading, right? 41%. We still have some bulls. The other bulls that we had yesterday, you know, have transitioned into bears today. And today's very, very interesting. Very, very interesting area, right? Very, very interesting zone at the moment. The bears are really leading the way on this drop. So a first initial sign of strength to claim that lower high is very much needed at this moment. It's very much needed that we do at least hit 104.8k to then eventually open the door for the price to get that three-wave move, right? Get that third wave developed here. But it's not looking too great. Not looking too great, okay? Gonna have to wait and see, legends. Gonna have to wait and see. Not much more has to be said. I'm not sure if you guys want me to cover a little bit of the higher time frame scenarios and the possible bearish case scenario. The bearish case scenario here is eventually looking at this as an A wave down. Okay, there's the 5-wave structure not leaning on this scenario. Okay, expanding move. This is your ABC. We have many problems with this movement down. We have many problems with this movement down. So regardless if the price does manage to break down, say, right, in the next coming days, we will still be interested in long positions. I would still be interested in long positions, guys, okay? Of course, I don't want to catch a falling knife. We want to see the structure development, right, throughout this zone or wherever it is, and then come to the conclusion on what different, you know, movements could happen. But we ain't going to speculate on long here, right? An SFP from these higher lows could be an option just for a little bounce. If this bounce is corrective, you know, we could be analyzing for a possible short, but it does become a little bit risky at this moment to try and long a swing failure pattern. But it's definitely an option. Swing failure patterns, you know, look at this swing failure pattern. That was an epic long that I got into just about 2 weeks ago. This is the main long that I got into just 2 weeks ago, which I managed to profit very, very nicely. You know, most of the profits have been taken. It's a very good position. Not going to take these profits just in case we do actually hold on. We do form the triangle, and you know, price does decide to continue ranging in the next coming days, right? Today's gonna be a difficult day with the news, but the analysis is the analysis. So you need to take profits regardless. If you're long and short, you know, you need to take profits on your way. I got a head short position open here, just in case we do break down. You know, it's a smaller position, but regardless, yeah. Guys, if you are interested in trading, check out the links down below, okay? You do have weeks, you do have bluffing, you got extremely good deals. You get 20% cash back on bluffing. This exchange is absolutely booming, all right? It's gaining in popularity and volume. 20% cash back, okay, and all different perks with your deposit, okay? You do have weeks as well, which has also an epic bonus. You only need an email and a password to sign up on these exchanges, guys. No VPN needed. And you also get, on weeks, you do get 25% fee reduction, okay? Once you sign up with the second link down below, you do have bluffing as well, which is a great alternative, okay? Weeks bluffing to Bybit. Bybit has always been my #1, but of course, Bybit requires information. Let's go right away through the comment section, and then we can go dollar index. Dollar index is looking very interesting, but I think people are not too fussy about the dollar index. I've got a few things ready here on the dollar index. Maybe we can go through that. Maybe you want me to take a look at some altcoins. All right, now we're just waiting for the bulls to step in right now, which is, you know what? You want to know something? I think the bulls are going to step in here, guys. We do have bullish CVD divergence. We do have bullish CVD divergence. There is a fun fact here on this movement down, okay, which is extremely three-wavy. All right. When we are looking at an impulsive move to the downside, I think the bulls are going to hold this level, guys. If you want my personal opinion, even though it does look bearish, I think the bulls are going to step in this zone, and we're going to claim above 105.5k in the next couple of hours. If you want a kind of a prediction, I think that we are going to manage to maintain this higher low, and we are going to bounce and claim 105.5. Right? This is that kind of moment that nobody, you're like, this is bearish. What the heck are you talking about? This is a 5-wave structure to the downside. And this is where it becomes very interesting. And this is where your knowledge, okay, comes into power. Because when I do analyze this leg to the downside that we had from Tuesday to the low, if we are labeling this as your wave 1, I have a surprise for you. It's not a 5-wave structure, it is a 3-wave structure. And in an impulsive move to the downside on your waves 1, 3, and 5, you need 5 waves for a leading move. And when we do zoom in and analyze very carefully on the lower time frame, this movement that is labeled as your wave 1 has a very clear 3-wave structure. This is why, you could arguably discuss, we talked about this yesterday, when you zoom in on the 1-minute time frame, could you say this is your little 1 and there's a little 2 right there? And then this is 3 and 4, 5, expanding 5th wave. You can discuss this. This is why, when you take a look at Elliott Wave theory, the moment you start going below the 5-minute time frame, then yeah, good luck with that. Because it's kind of not worth it. It's going to the 1-minute, even 3-minute, it's not worth it. But even though in the 1-minute time frame, right, if we are looking at this movement down, you would have to put your wave 2 somewhere in here. Extremely small wave 2, right? And that's a 5-wave structure with an expanding 5th wave. It does count better as a 3-wave structure. I'll have to be honest here. It does count better as a 3-wave move to the downside. And that is where the magic happens, right? That is where well, if you have formed this 3-wave structure on your first wave in an impulsive move to the downside, maybe this scenario is not the scenario that is happening here. And if that were to be the case, you need to form a higher low and claim those highs right over here to form a 3-wave structure, which is much better based on the analysis that we have from the last few days. It is packed with 3 waves, not only to the downside, also to the upside. So this is why, this here is a 3-wave structure, guys. I'm sorry. This is not an impulse. This right over here is no kind of impulse. It is still part of a corrective structure. The movement up that we had the other day, the last few days, it's also a 3-wave structure. And now the question is this movement down going to be a 3-wave structure? The low should be the low from yesterday. And that's where you need to go and zoom in on the lower time frame and start looking at the internal waves and try and understand, what are the probabilities here? And I lean that this is going to manage to form a higher low, and we are going to get above 105.5k because of this wave right over here, which is counted better as a 3-wave structure than a 5-wave structure. Meaning that a 5-wave move to the downside here doesn't look too great. and a three-wave structure looks better. We shall see, right? We shall see. Let's go right away through the comment section and see what the people are saying, right? A lot of liquidations just hit, says Jake. Yeah, we got also, my short is going epic. My short is not going to epic. I've only got a small little hedge short position that I do think it could get stopped out. This long position here, guys, is only for the brave. Only for the brave. But the long position target for the brave people is actually getting above 105.5k. Let's go right away through the comp section. So shows Andy some love, guys. Hit the like button. Mark Dutch, much love to you, brother. You know, Mark Dutch has been, you know, a moderator on my channel for many years now. He's an absolute, he's epic, providing support always. I have to say, he has been the best moderator in the past, okay? And also now, much love to you, Mark. I do appreciate Mark Dutch. Also Aditya and the rest of moderators, but Mark Dutch has been on the channel since the beginning, guys, since I had a couple of thousand subscribers. So shout out to Mark Dutch. He's an absolute legend. Right. Brave people. Brave people. Brave people. Yeah, this is only for the brave. Sometimes you need to be brave in trading because, you know, you can get stuck on, should I get into the trade or not? Should I not? Should I? Yes, no. Much love, Mark. What time is FOMC? The FOMC is in exactly 4 hours from now, guys. Exactly 4 hours from now. It is 10 p.m. UAE time, okay? And it's in exactly 4 hours from now, guys. This, you know, could be fireworks happening here. Most times you would lie that, you know, you would lean on the side that this is going to be bearish. A lot of people like to say, oh, well, you know, Jerome Powell coming out, you know, to speak, it's going to be bearish, right? You know, usually it has a bearish effect, especially lately in the last few years, tends to be a little bit more bearish, okay? So this is why when we're looking at the technical analysis, and just stay cautious with your trading setups, guys, okay? Just stay cautious with your trading setups. If your trades are very close to the entry, right? If the price action is very close to your entry point, you do not, you want to be defensive, right? You know, you want to be defensive. If we had the FOMC economic projections, interest rate, and then the press conference, and we are here right now, and you think that the price is going to dump, you know, you're going to have a, you know, there could be so many problems, right? You could get a pump and dump. You could get a dump and then a pump, right? It could just dump only. You just don't really know. You just don't really know what is going to be the outcome of the news that we have today, which is a pretty big day. I'm not sure if I'm going to go live here, guys. You know, it's 10 p.m. for me. I need to get ready for bed at this time. Because sleeping is very important, guys. Sleeping, keeping fit, eating well, right? Muy importante. Especially to have very good, you know, a clear mind to analyze the situation, get into, you know, good trading setups. I'm a boring guy right now with trading. I was very, very focused on day tradings scenarios on the last couple of years. I'm transitioning right now, guys, more to swing trading, you know, more to, you know, realize higher time frame scenarios. So yeah. Anyway, Powell will spit the same script. Yeah, this is true. The last few FOMC economic projections, the Fed press conference, he's actually been saying the same thing in the last few ones. He never says anything actually. Yeah, very true. What if it's priced in? Yeah, this is also something. What if it's priced in already, right? You know, people usually have the sentiment that it's going to be bearish, just like I put on the poll here. Make sure to get your votes in, guys. FOMC today is going to be bearish. Big drop loading, 59%. People lean more bearish in these days. where we do have the press conference, FOMC, economic projections. It's a natural sentiment, right? Because it has been many times kind of bearish. You know, you kind of get the drops happening on these days. But what if it's priced in, right? Interest rate decision, I think it's going to be the same. It's very likely it's going to be the same. No changes on that. So, yeah, it will be quite interesting, you know, to see. What if it is priced in, right? What if it is priced in? You know, a lot of people are leaning on that this price action is bearish. But I am having a very, very bad time to see this bearishness based on this movement to the downside. Right? At the end of the day, of course, it can be, you know, part of a corrective structure. But even though if we were to lose the lows, guys, I would be so interested in start looking for swing long positions. I'm already in a couple of swing longs. Short trade, I'm only in this trade, guys. I haven't been shorting the market lately. This was an acceptable short trade at the 108, 109K zone. It was a very interesting short position. This was talked about on a video update where, you know, we do have the value area high. We are very rangy. It does look like that the range will continue for the next coming days. So a short between 108 and 109K to form this triangle is definitely an option. I didn't get into this short. I got into short here. This was already a couple of weeks ago. You know, I haven't been shorting much this range. I've been getting into more longs. Still interested more in longs, if I'm honest with you here. So let's go. Yeah, there we go. We're getting the pump, guys. Yeah. Surprise, surprise. The box held. Yeah, this is actually looking pretty damn good. I just want to consider a possible flat scenario here, because there is the flat scenario. I mean, if this were to be, you know, when you're talking about double 1-2s, 1-2, 1-2, could this be an ABC flat and it becomes a trap and it breaks down? You know, you always need to consider that scenario. You have to be honest, but it would be rare. It would be rare. The second 1-2 already is extremely longer. Well, not extremely longer, but it is longer than your first 1-2, which is already decreasing possibilities. I don't like the idea of a flat here, but it could still be an option. Yeah, I think it looks good, guys. It looks good to pump out here. It looks good to pump out. Yeah, I think we do have high probability right now that we are going to claim these highs. Yeah, just considering here the flat scenario, guys. Just considering the flat. Let's reverse this. Just take a look at the flat targets. Yeah, I mean, it is a possibility also that we have an ABC flat here. You got 1, 2, 1 and 2 in a flat. I mean, this would be extremely longer than your first wave 1, right? Your higher time frame wave 1, this would be. I think there's low probability on this scenario. There is low probability in this being a double 1-2 with a flat being developed here. This is your flat right over here, and you know, this should really nuke down. I don't think that there's low probability in this, just because your second wave 1 and 2 is extremely longer in time than your first wave 1 and 2. Okay, so the general idea here of a zigzag move up, complex correction, and another zigzag move up is a scenario, or the most bullish case scenario, which doesn't look too great, is all of this being a flat, which there is a problem here, and the problem is time. Time is a problem because your ABC flat is extremely longer in time than your potential impulse here. But this would be the most bullish case scenario, right? Where you do break out in a, well, you can break out in a, you know, a third wave or a C wave here. Ultimately, you know, claiming the highs right now is the highest chance. Let's go right away. Andy is transitioning. Who would thought? He does calisthenics. What's going on? No short at the bottom doesn't make sense. Yeah, that is true. I'm only interested in longs now. Very good analysis. That's the way to go, Lou. That is the way to go. How do we keep fit, Andy? Yeah. How do we keep fit? I like to run. I'm quite of a jogger myself. I like to do my 5 miles. You know, about 3 times a week. Takes me about 45 minutes to do 5 miles approximately. You know, get your running. Running is very good. Get your cardio. Eat clean, guys. I do like to eat my burgers and chips once in a while, but we try and eat clean as well, guys. Okay, get your veggies and good, lots of meat and eggs. Get your veggies in, guys. Lots of salads. Eat clean and healthy. When we say the highs, which highs do you mean? I mean these highs right over here, the highs of today, 105.5k. We claim this lower high, as mentioned. There's a high probability in claiming this high. As soon as we claim this high right over here, you know, we do have a high chance right now. Of course, you don't want to long the pump. Let's see if we do get some kind of a correction here. So far, we have broken the mini. This is why sometimes you need to take the aggressive trade. Sometimes you need to take it. Yesterday, we talked about the aggressive trade in this zone, right? But the conservative trade is wait for a sign of strength and wait for the movement down to the 50% 7/8 Fibonacci to then get the next leg up to claim those highs, right? You don't know if it's going to break or if it's going to not break. You're just looking for those highs to be claimed. And then when you look for the conservative trading setup, which, you know, you're already hitting a crucial point right now, which is giving you a high probability to hit this high. Well, preferably you get that 3-wave structure. You know, the good thing about this movement down, you have broken this downtrend structure at the moment, right? That's a first good sign. And when we look at structure analysis, we can see how you have a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, and a higher high at the moment. Of course, you know, it gives you a bit more probability to say, okay, we could be transitioning in the short term an uptrend. However, sometimes it's not always like that, especially when you have a flat, right? Because flats usually create the trap as well, right? Where you have a leading move down, and then you have the A wave, the B wave, the C wave getting above your A wave, right? And then, you know, whoever's just focusing on the channels and all of this, right, are saying, okay, we're breaking out from trend. And then you have an ABC flat, and then you absolutely nuke here, which is, you know, always something that you need to be aware of. This is why waiting for some kind of a corrective move, a little bit of a descending channel-y move, right? Sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes you just rock it, and it is what it is. But the best option is always after the sign of strength. Just as we mentioned yesterday, guys, we talked about this yesterday. Wait for wait for an impulsive move, wait for a sign of strength, wait for a big bounce, and the corrective move. That's when you are interested in between the 50% and the 7/8 Fibonacci to get into the trade. 50% was the one that held here. And you're literally looking for the highs to be claimed, right? Which was claimed. The problem here is that we did not get a successful breakout. It was choppy and we rejected. So that's the moment. If you're scalping, day trading, right, you want to get out. You want to get out. You're not breaking out here. You want to get out. You want to protect position. You want to get out most of your profits. So this is why a corrective move here, if we do get a drop and we get a bit choppy, it could be the ticket, right? It could be the golden ticket to get that movement up. Let's wait and see. Obviously, the aggressive traders giving you that option are in the profit right now. The people that wanted to take this aggressive trade, you know, you're in the profit at the moment. Now is you know, can we reach the highs of today above 105.5k, which I do see a very high probability option. And that all comes to the conclusion, guys, that this movement down that we had yesterday, right? There we have it, guys. The technicals don't lie. It all has to do. You must have seen this everywhere, guys. I'm in every single channel out there, guys. I know what the people are looking at. I know what the people are looking at. But they are probably not looking at this wave. I want to analyze very carefully every single movement to understand what is the next higher probability move in this zone. And as expected, you know, as mentioned in the live stream at the beginning, I was leaning on, I think there's going to be a higher chance that we do this, guys, than we actually move down and claim the lows. And there you have it. There it is, guys. This is why, you know, learning the technical analysis, right? Elliott Wave theory is extremely powerful. It is very, very powerful. To give you the highest probability next movement. And I think the bears are surprised about this move. I'm not surprised, guys. Is this something that I was leaning more that it was going to happen? So aggressive traders, they got into the long position, as mentioned here, with your invalidation at the low to claim these highs, are happy, right? And, you know, the conservative ones, which is what usually it does happen many times, guys. We might get that pullback later on. It doesn't matter. Pullback will, you know, has to happen. If we were to get that pullback now in the next coming minutes, right, with taking out the high or not, any pullback here will be interesting. And the main reason why is because, you know, sometimes you need to get the aggressive trade because it might just pump through and you're like, we didn't get the pullback. Well, it doesn't matter. You look for the next one. But in this case, a pullback down, we could be looking at it interesting, and I would keep it simple. Your invalidation is this higher low right now. This is your invalidation. You're not going to put stop loss down here, guys. It's not worth it. So let's see if we do get a, you know, a little bit of a pullback in the next, you know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. If not, we come up to claim those highs. That's it. This is why sometimes, you know, the aggressive trades sometimes need to be taken. Sometimes you need to take them. The aggressive trades will give you a better risk to reward and a better entry, but they are risky considering the bearish case. But you just need to manage risk, guys. Don't go all in. Just put a small percentage of your capital and take the shot. Now the question is, you know, will we get that pullback down, right? It might not. It might just do this, or it might get the pullback, and then we're looking for this. And with that theory, we're always looking for at least a three-wave structure, guys. We are at least always looking for a three-wave structure. Always. Regardless if you're going to get a 4 and a 5 later on, well, that's a bonus. But now we got our first leg to the upside, which is looking good. We're breaking lower highs. We're breaking local structure. High probability at the moment that we do claim this lower high. Now the question is, will we get the pullback or will we not get the pullback here? As of yet. Who got into a long position, guys, in this area? Let me know with a 1 in the comment section. It was an aggressive long to be taken, guys, but sometimes you need to take the aggressive trades. This game is only for the brave, right? So let me know down in the comment section if you did get in squeeze a long position here. Oh, I see lots of ones. Put a 2 if you did not get into the long. It just didn't look right? I know sometimes the most aggressive trades are the best ones, right? You must have seen maybe on some channels that this is what we're looking at, which could still develop, right? Maybe, if this is an expanding move down in a 5-wave structure, maybe this is the corrective move at the moment, right? And you're going to roll down. I don't think it's the scenario, right? I'm not leaning on this scenario, but it could be possible, right? You're still developing that 5th wave. You just had an expanding diagonal to the downside as your wave 1 of your wave 5, right? So when you're looking at this, is this your wave 1? This is your wave 2, 3, and 4, and 5. As mentioned before, the main reason why I don't see this, the main reason why I say that this has low probability is because of your wave 1, the start of your wave here, which does not look too convincing, right? It does look very 3-wavy. It does look very 3-wavy here, which automatically gives you the chance of this being a double zigzag, very aggressive one, to be honest. But the whole thing about reading this as a 5-wave structure, there's low probability since the start of your wave 1 here. So this is why I came to the conclusion that we're just going to be forming another 3-wave move. It's just packed of 3-wave moves here. So yeah, let's see. Interesting bounce here. Interesting bounce. The bullish CVD divergence are helping, right? We did get lots of shorts. We're getting a bit of a short squeeze scenario at the moment. We had higher lows on the price action, lower lows on CVD. Shorts entering right at the lows. Shorts entering at the lows. We got the delta having, lots of shorts shorting at the lows, which is never a great option. You want to see this for that short squeeze. And that's currently what is happening right now. So yeah, people that have been shorting in this zone are not going to be happy because there's a higher chance that we do claim those lower highs of today. Anyway, let's go through the comment section right away. Say hello. Tom Crown is here, the legend. Good morning. Happy 𝗖𝗿𝘆𝗽𝗍 day. Guys, make sure to go and check out Tom Crown. I'm sure you know who he is. He's definitely going to do it. I go and hop in on his live streams, okay? We got Tom Crown here. Let's give a shout out here to Tom Crown. He's an absolute legend. His live streams are epic. And he is going to go live, I'm sure, today. I'm not going to go live. It's going to be 10 o'clock for me. But you can go and check out Tom Crown. He does give me a shout out when I hop in as well. Much love to you, my man. Here he is, Tom Crown himself. If you don't know who he is, I'm sure a lot of you know who he is. He's definitely going live later on the press conference, which is very entertaining. I'll hop in for sure on Tom Crown. So yeah, anyway, let's go right away. We got Mark Dutch giving the love and power. Let's go. The price of Bitcoin bouncing. Holy moly, I'm not surprised. I almost got stopped out from that long. Ooh, here it is. This long position has been holding very nicely from yesterday. Oh my. It did not get stopped out. I mean, there was an option to get in already based on the analysis of the beginning. I will consider taking most of the profits from that trade as soon as we break through here this lower high of today. I'm gonna collect some profits. There was an aggressive long yesterday mentioned in this zone. Some people might have got stopped out. You know, a re-entry here was definitely an option. It was aggressive. It was an aggressive entry as mentioned, right? Purely based on this 5-wave move down. But already explained that I preferred this scenario, guys, to happen. It looked better. And that has to do with analyzing the different waves and where are we coming from, right? You can not only blindly focus your analysis from today and yesterday. We need to know where we're coming from, right? And since this movement down, you might have seen this on many different places, guys. Many different places. I'm sure that a lot of, you know, crypto YouTubers have been talking about this. I like to go against the herd, but also realizing that this is a 3-wave move down on your wave 1. So that only brings, you know, the high chance of actually that this could actually be the low. And this is, it doesn't really matter a double, you know, a double zigzag or a ABC, right? It doesn't really matter. It's a 3-wave structure. And we could be seeing a 3-wave structure at least here. Regardless if it's going to be a 5-wave, well, then it will be a surprise. Then if we do get that motion, then bring it on, right? I don't think so. I think it's going to be another 3-waver. I think we're going to get another dump down. For the moment, the triangle, we are getting all of those peaks, guys. You know, the triangle idea was already from many days ago. On that complex WXY structure, you know, we did talk about a rejection here. We did talk about a bounce rejection at 108 to 109k, bounce from 103 to 104 without claiming these lows, and then now the bounce to 106, 107, and then we're gonna have to analyze the situation here. So for the moment, we are completing the peaks here on the triangle formation, which is, you know, higher low here is what we're looking at, and now the next area is going to be somewhere in the zone, right? Which I do think will get a rejection eventually to possibly complete that E wave. I mean, let's see, right? We can't only lean bullish here, guys. There is bearish case scenarios, but locally the bullish one looks a little bit better. Looks a little bit better. I have nothing on the chart, guys. No silly moving averages and RSIs. We just look at pure market structure, Elliott Wave theory, Fibonacci. Levels of confluence, of course, such as naked point controls, daily levels, they're all good. There is a daily level here at 106,800. That could be an interesting level. Let's go right away. Possible level of rejection if we do get up there. Most commonly in the triangles, you do get to the golden pocket or the 7/8, even the 0.88, right? Most commonly on the triangles, you do get to, I mean, we can just take a look at the previous pivots, right? If we are leaning on this to be what is happening here, you know, the triangles retrace to the 7/8 Fibonacci, in between the golden pocket and the 7/8 most commonly. So if you get the A wave down here, 7/8 Fibonacci touched and rejected. When you get your A wave to the B wave, 0.88 was touched yesterday. So, I mean, that is totally fine in a triangle to hit the 0.88. It doesn't matter, right? A triangle, you know, golden pocket to the 7/8 is most common, 0.88. Also common, it is common to hit the 0.88, which we did yesterday from the A wave to the B wave, right? So if this is still the pattern that we are developing so far, we do have, you know, 2 great lower highs, 2 potential higher low here. Most commonly on the triangle, if we are going to be forming this D wave, if this is the pattern that is developing still on Bitcoin, well, you would be looking at least at the golden pocket most commonly to be hit. Could it squeeze to the 7.8 or the 0.88? Well, eventually, yes, that's where we do have the resistance lower high. But the golden pocket is where we have the daily level. Daily level is what we have at the golden pocket from this recent move down. So without a doubt, it is a level of rejection. That's 106.6k. No, sorry, my bad. 106.7k. What other scenarios do we have? For the moment, this is the one that looks a bit more promising. There isn't. I don't want to be too bullish, especially when we have the FOMC today, and you know, press conference, interest rate. You know, we have big news today. We don't know how it's gonna play out. Maybe it's priced in, but this is also one of them. This would be the extreme bullish case. This has lower probability, in my opinion, where you have a 3-wave structure here. In your wave W, your wave X is here, and right over here you have a running triangle. And I would be surprised if this is the low. This is really breaking out to all-time high. I don't think this is the scenario that is going to play out, right? The sentiment is not great. We do have news. We need to consider the bearish scenarios eventually, but there is a valid count. Of course, your X wave is a little bit shallow in time, but you have the potential of this. I don't feel confident that we're going to go to all-time high in the next couple of days, guys. I have to be honest. I don't feel confident, right? It does, but there is a valid count. There is a valid count on this being a WXY with a running triangle on your wave Y. It is possible. It is possible. All developed with 3-wave structures. Seems pretty bold. I don't think this has the highest probability. This triangle looks better. This triangle does look better. But anyway, we need to consider the bearish case as well, guys. But I have a very bad time looking at the bearish case. I have a very, very bad time. I just don't see a proper leading move to the downside. All of this is a bunch of rubbish. It's very corrective. And then, you know, since the next movements to the downside, I just cannot find a proper impulsive move down, which, you know, it's all developed with 3-wave structures, a big, massive range. So even though it does break down, you know, I need to start thinking of, I mean, this already retraced to the 7.8 Fibonacci yesterday. Sorry, the last few days. A double zigzag move to the downside here. You know, I have a bad time looking at this as an impulsive move down. This movement does not look impulsive. The highest amount of volume is at the lows here. When you see the highest amount of volume, guys, at a low, and you get this bounce, you know, invalidating a wave 4, which you know, hitting the golden pocket, and you have the highest volume down here. This is very, very common for either a C wave, a Y wave, or a third wave, right? When you're considering an impulsive move, most commonly, you can have the highest amount of volume in a wave 5 if it's expanding, but most commonly you do get the highest amount of volume in your wave 3. And if you finish a move with the highest amount of volume with this structure, it is, you know, you can't look at it as an impulse. You know, you would have to have your corrective move and then a leg down here, and then you have a 5-wave structure. That was not the case. And ending a move with the highest amount of volume is most commonly inside of a corrective structure, either a, you know, ABC or a WXY, right? Regardless of where you get it from. I was looking at this to be a corrective structure, guys. You know, this is the main reason I entered along here on the Friday drop. I was like, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying the fear. I'm not buying the war. Obviously, you know, we could break down. These are intraday scenarios. I have taken profits from the trading setups, okay? From the long ride over here, you know, profits have been taken, positions are protected. So, you know, this whole thing about people saying you're going to get wrecked with your shorts and longs. I don't get wrecked, guys, okay? We do not get wrecked. If you are a follower of the channel, we do not get wrecked. We look very carefully at our invalidation levels. We risk small percentages because it's all about packing up, you know, many trades throughout the next, you know, coming months and years, right? We get into small positions, right? We don't get wrecked, even though I'm leaning, you know, more as this being a bullish corrective structure. If the price were to get dropped down here, I'm not going to get wrecked, okay? If I don't get stopped out of the short, then, you know, probably going to make some profits on the drop. I do think that, you know, this short is going to get stopped out. You know, based on that scenario, I think we are going to get the movement up, sorry. Let's go right away through the comment section and say hello to the beautiful community, see what they're saying. You're legends, absolute legends. Let's see how many likes we got. We got over 800 people watching the stream. I'm still in my long, says 𝗞𝗔, the legend himself. You talking about my ex again. 𝗞𝗔 here. Be careful with 𝗞𝗔, guys, in the comment section. You don't want to piss him off. Goat, Ben Vask, how you doing, my man? I want more discount. I did think 73% possible in this cycle. Man, make it more easy. Zoom out. You will see I don't distract yourself with only looking at waves. Yeah, bro. Don't worry. Zoom out. What do we want to take a look at? I zoom out, guys, every day. But this is where the action is taken. Right? What do you want me to say? Getting to a short here, getting to a long here in this zone. We look at the specific levels on what's happening here, guys. That's what we mainly do. If you want me to zoom out, well, yeah, what shall we zoom out on? Double top on the higher time frame, right? Yeah, I get that. We do have a double top here. This movement does look corrective. Regardless if we lose 100k, it does look more corrective. All-time high is expected in the next coming weeks. You know, we can drop below 100k, that is for sure. But it would still be part of a correction. And we just have to analyze where the price could stop, find support, analyze the internal waves. Elliott Wave is very powerful. It is very powerful. I've explained that. And, you know, the thing is, if you don't analyze it correctly, most will see this in this zone. Of course, it could still happen because we do have a potential expanding move here. In your wave 5, wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to finish that 5th wave, it is a possibility. You cannot deny that, guys. It is still possible. You just formed your first wave 1. Your wave 1 is an expanding move down, which is rare on its own. But anyway, zoom out and analyze. You know, what do you want me to analyze zooming out here? From this cycle, what do we need to analyze when we do zoom out? We've had an epic rally here in the last few years, right? Where this has been an epic rally. A lot of people are calling for this is the end already, right? This is the end. Could we see this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A, B, C flat on the formation bear market for the next coming months? You know, what we focus on this range, it still looks corrective. It still means that there's a higher chance in claiming all-time high again. So I don't know, you know, this could be a 1-2. Yeah, many different scenarios. We could still have an expanding wave 5. You know, this is, you know, a lot of people probably talking about this when they're looking at Elliott Wave theory. You have your wave 1 and 2, your 3 and your 4, and then you develop your first wave 1 and 2 from your 5th wave, and this is just going to have a 3, 4, 5, where you look for the price to have an expansive 5th wave, right? Sorry, my bad, that's not the one. Extensive with wave 5, right? And you just develop your first wave 1 and 2 of your wave 5, right? The structure is very bullish. The movements down are very corrective. Higher is likely, guys. Higher is likely. On the higher time frame, I mean, okay? Lower time frame, it could be you know, this is a rangy volatility fest. So whoever got into that aggressive long, guys, congratulations. I do expect those highs to be taken. Make sure to collect your profits if you did get into this aggressive long position. The corrective move, you just never know when it's going to happen. It could happen here. It could happen here. It could happen later on. This is why sometimes, you know, we wait for the correction. It's going to happen at some point. We just don't know where it's going to happen. Will it happen here? Will it happen here? Will it happen here? You just never know. So sometimes the aggressive long trade has to be taken just because it's going to give you a great entry. So that's the one. I did see a lot of ones entering that long trade, guys. Very good, very aggressive, very brave. But as mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I am leaning more for this than actually this, guys. I was putting my reputation there on the line. So yeah, there we go. It's all 𝗬𝗆𝘆𝗽𝗍, my man, here he is. Guys, go and check out 𝗬𝗆𝘆𝗽's channel. I'm going to pin him right away. He gives awesome education and very similar, a lot of Elliott Wave theory, a lot of probabilities, obviously looking at the levels, okay, of confluence. Make sure to go and check out 𝗬𝗆𝘆𝗽, this handsome dude, 𝗬𝗆𝗆𝗽 Trading. Here he is. I'm actually going to pin his comment, I'm going to pin his YouTube channel in the comment section because you need to go and check out this dude. All right. He is also a coach in the Legends trading community. He is a coach in the Legends trading community. I was gonna put his channel here. Hang on a second. Right, hang on a minute. I'm having some issues here. I'm having some issues. I'm sure most of you do know who 𝗬𝗆𝗆𝗽 is. There he is, 𝗬𝗆𝗆𝗽 in the pinned comment. Go and check him out, guys. He is a coach in the Legends trading community. I know that he's been looking for a long position also. We have a very, very similar way of analyzing the markets, guys. Okay. So, yeah, make sure to go and check out 𝗬𝗆𝗆𝗽's channel. And if you want to join the Legends trading community, okay, on Discord, that is where the updates are provided every single day, guys. Setups, scenarios. You have the modules as well. You have the course, beginner's guide, advanced, okay, Elliott Wave theory, you know, putting into practice everything so you can realize how, you know, how powerful it is, right? You got the Discord with analysis, the modules. It's packed with value. If you want to take your trading to the next level, guys, it is the 5th link down below, okay? Legends trading community, where you have the education, you have the coaches in the Discord providing updates and possible setups every single day, guys. There was a short setup on an altcoin also in the Telegram today that played out very, very nicely. Very, very good. Very, very good short setup. Let's go right away through the comment section. Is it time to take a look at some altcoins, guys? I'm not sure. I got a bunch of ICP. We did have a spike on the Bitcoin dominance. yeah, Bitcoin dominance is grinding to the upside. There's nothing stopping this train. But ICP, I am not happy with ICP. Not happy with the ICP, but I still think that the lows here of this uptrend momentum, regardless if it breaks down, still buying more, guys. There will be a moment that this is going to reverse hard, regardless if it's weeks or months. I do think that this one is a good project. You never need to go all in on different altcoins, guys. They're extremely risky. You could lose all your money. Let's keep it clear here. But I want to be positioned on some different altcoins. This is definitely the zone where I want to buy. Not buying the pumps, guys. I'm buying the fear. It's dead. We never had an altcoin season. We never will kind of environment, right? That's where I want to buy. So yeah, ICP, a little bit disappointed on all of the altcoins, guys, right? All of the altcoins are not doing that great. Chainlink, I think it's a matter of time. I think the low could be in on Chainlink here. Great range. We are expecting a rally at some point in the next coming weeks, months, who knows? It's just a boring altcoin market. Maybe when interest rates go down, that's where we're going to see some fireworks. Anyway, we've got people leaving right now as I am chopping here through the analysis and through the altcoins, right? People don't give a damn about altcoins. We're here to trade Bitcoin. Let's go Bitcoin. Who got into a long position, guys? Who got into the long at this low? Would I say this is a good short right now? I don't like the short here, guys. I don't like it. I don't like this short at the moment, especially when we have one leg to the upside, only one leg. If we would have had a little bit of a three-wave move and we consider this an expanding, move to the downside, yeah, maybe. I don't like it, guys. I'm not interested in shorts here at the moment. I would be more interested in shorts at 106, 107K, because I am really leaning on the possibility of a three-wave, and then, we'll analyze here the possible rejection, but not interested in shorts right now on the pump. The best thing was get into the aggressive long, right? Which we gave the option. Put your ones in the comment section. You can protect that position right now. Make sure to collect the profits once we get to this high. Could it absolutely blast through, or could it, double top kind of scenario? It doesn't matter. This is your collect profit zone, okay? Leave some open just in case we do go higher. But let me see the people that got into the long position. We did get lots of ones before. And it was no short for me, says 𝗬𝗍𝘆𝗽. Yeah, not for me either. Not at the moment. We need to get above the highs of today. And then we'll analyze what happens here, right? Then we'll analyze what happens in this zone. But yeah. So we did get lots of ones coming in. People jumping into that risky long. It was a little bit risky. But you have a free trade right now. You can be defensive. Don't turn this trade into a stop loss. Lower your risk at the moment. So yeah, let's go 111. I do think that those highs are going to be claimed, guys. It does look likely, okay? And now is the moment where we get the dip and you're like, oh, we're dumping. It's if we do get a little bit of a channel-y situation, and that would be a good option. Obviously, if we nuke down, well, then we do not take the long, right? We need to see a little bit of a chop here on a movement down, a little bounce, a little movement down, a bit of a channel-y wedgie structure, and then, maybe that could be the trigger. Okay? Not sure if we are going to get this, guys, but it would be the scenario. If it starts nuking down right now, guys, you do not do anything, right? You stop. You don't do anything, right? We're not here to catch a falling knife. We want to see a little bit of a rangy formation, right? When you get this pump to the upside, this is the kind of price action that you want to see. So that would be the ideal scenario here to get this, to then look for the leg up. You've got another possibility here. Stop beneath the low. 50% to the 7.8 is the option for the next long, because you're looking for a three waiver, 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 three waiver inside of a larger three waiver, right? Let's go through the comment section. Let's see that like button, guys. I'm going to go and take a hike. We'll go through the comment section. Always listen to 𝗬𝗍𝘆𝗽. Yeah, not to me. Go and listen to 𝗬𝗍𝘆𝗽. Don't listen to me, guys. I'm just a crazy guy on YouTube that has no clue of what he's talking about. I'll let you decide that. I'm going to go and take a hike, guys. And it would be absolutely awesome. I'm going to go through the comment section right now, see what's going on with the legends, Mark Dutch, Lou Dong, and see what's your opinion. We can take a look at some altcoins, some news, whatever, guys. I'm going to chill out now for a little bit with you guys, but I want to see that like button getting absolutely destroyed. Let's see if we can get to 400, guys. My like button absolutely sucks compared to some other douchebags out there that get, you know, thousands of likes. I don't know what's going on, guys. I'll try and be as transparent and clear and educative as possible. Maybe I need to be a douchebag, right? And probably get more likes. Now, I prefer to keep it real. Anyway, I'm going to just go and take a hike here. And I'll come back and see how that like button has performed. If it's not at 400, I'll just come to the conclusion that you don't like me. It did kind of work. It did kind of work. We didn't get to 400, but we did get to 357. Thank you, guys. Much appreciated. I know a lot of you do smash up the like button. Never change, Andy, says Gordon. I won't, my man. I won't. Okay? Nothing can change me, guys. Not the, you know, money, woman, yeah. Nothing can change me, guys. I will stay real here. Don't just like, subscribe. Also subscribe, guys, if you enjoy the content. Pure education. Oh, we're getting a drop now, guys. Let's see if this drop does manage to cool off. What is NASDAQ doing? NASDAQ is getting a little bit of a pump also. It did get a little bounce. Bitcoin dropping. Man, almost got stopped out from the long of yesterday. I only took 20% profit of this long position. Oh man, it was just about a few dollars of getting stopped out. Yeah, I think it would be sensible right now to take profits as soon as it crosses 105.5k. You're going to lock at least 50%. If we get another push up, another 50%. Over here, you know, this is a day trade scenario. I don't expect this to go to all-time highs. I got another swing trade for that, which is this one. Still leaving some of this long position, which I did take most of the profits. But I'm going to leave that position open. I don't mind getting stopped out with this at break even. This has a, you know, if it were to go to all-time high, it would be another 10 grand of profit. So it's worth leaving. It's a very good entry. But I know a lot of people are skeptical. Very, very skeptical on the price of Bitcoin. Of it breaking down, right? It's kind of a matter of time here that it breaks down, right? Let's go through the comment section. Let's go. Love this dude. No BS, just TA. Thank you, my man. Yeah, mainly on Bitcoin. Mainly on Bitcoin. Not a fan of doing TA on altcoins. Maybe Ethereum or some high caps. But yeah, Bitcoin is the one. Bitcoin is the one. Don't just like. I quit my job to stay home to watch his stream. Ludon, my man, much love to you. Andy and the MCO channel are quality content. I know MCO. That's what's his name? More crypto online. More crypto online. Yeah, he does a lot of Elliott Wave theory. Well, he mainly is Elliott Wave theory, if I'm not mistaken. Likes can change you. Likes can change me. Yeah, it'll hype me up more. Reversal. Yeah, reversal. It does get a little bit of a dip right now. So now this dip becomes very important. This dip becomes very important. We don't want to see the nuke, right? We want to see a little bit of a proof of support. That's where it becomes interesting, right? Movement down, get the stop, and that's where we're interested for the next leg up. Okay, so if this continues nuking, then guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, right? But we don't get into any positions. Right? If it starts dancing, I want to be part of the dance. I realize that this is a possibility. Okay, so just so you understand when you take action, right? Because doing the analysis is great, but it's all about taking action. When to take that action on the trade, right? I couldn't care less if the price does this, guys. It doesn't matter. I won't lose money, right? I'm worried about you, right? So the price moving down now, that looks a bit aggressive. We need to see the price stopping. It needs to stop, guys. It needs to stop at some point here to form a higher low from this pivot. It needs to stop. Just like with this movement up, we start moving down aggressively. It needs to stop. It needs to stop. If we don't get that stop, then down we go. So it's not about being right or wrong. It's realizing the probabilities and realizing when you need to take that trade. Right? I'm not here to be right all the time. I'm here to say this is what we need on the price to actually take action. And invalidations, maintain risk. Don't go all in, guys. Don't get wrecked. It's a simple... It is simple to not get wrecked, but a lot of people really do bet a lot of their capital and they do get wrecked many times, right? Trading is well known to lose money, not to make money. But the rules are simple. The rules are really simple. It's just people are very emotional and don't maintain risk. So yeah, this is so far. Let's see if we do get a little stop, a little bit of a bouncing zone. And this could be interesting. This could be an interesting scenario if we do stop here. Form a little bit of a range, right? So yesterday we did talk about the long position in this area. Or, you know, it is risky. You either wait for the move up and wait for the retracement, and your goal is to take the highs. That is your target zone. I don't not know if it's going to break through. So automatically, if we do range here and hold on this area, technically this high is your target, but I would say that this target could be claimed, and that's when you get out, right? You get out. So let's see, a bit of an aggressive drop here. I think it could hold on. Let's see if it does hold on. It needs to hold in the next, 10, 15 minutes. Form a little bit of a rangy scenario. And let's see if we do get that leg up. We probably had a bit of bearish CVDs. Let's see if we did have some bearish CVD divergence. I think some longs got excited here. Yeah, from this pivot. No, we didn't get any bearish CVDs, so all good. When alt season? I don't know, man. At some point in the next coming months. Make sure to have a bag ready, okay? Don't buy the hype, buy the fear. Make sure to have a bag ready on a few altcoins that you do like, right? when we've had this aggressive drop. It's a lot easier to get wrecked. It's a lot easier to get wrecked. Well, yeah, I mean, it is easy in your first few years when you understand what you do not need to do. Is then it's hard to get wrecked, right? It's very hard for me to get wrecked. I get stopped out eventually, but I maintain risk. I don't lose, 20% on trade or 50%. This doesn't happen, right? I don't add to the position for a reversal. I'm going to add. I used to. I got wrecked like that, so I don't do it anymore. So we understand what we do not need to do, guys. The moment where you start getting into a trade and you believe that it has to reverse and you're adding to the position, no matter how good the analysis is, right? That is the moment you're doing it wrong. We do realize, right? You do realize when you're in a trade and you're in the loss and you want to add to the position, you don't have a proper stop loss. You think it's going to reverse at some point and you just add to the position. And your entry is going lower, but the price action is also going lower, for example, for the longs. You do not know when this is going to stop, right? You do not know. You need to analyze a little bit the structures. But anyway, it's just a bad trade, right? The moment you start adding to the position or you're hoping for a reversal, that's when the market can really get you, right? So what is the solution? Don't do that. Have invalidations, have scenarios, right? The long trade from here is a swing failure pattern. I was already analyzing this structure. I'm not sure if you guys were here on the stream. This was back on Wednesday, 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure, guys. Put a 1 if you were here on the stream when we got this drop, because we were expecting an epic bounce to claim these highs. And the main reason of that was looking at this structure. Yeah, of course, this could have been a wave 3 and a wave 4 and 5. However, this gave me the confidence to get into this swing failure pattern. I mean, I really actually got into a good entry here on the bounce. But the confidence of that swing failure pattern, not only because it's a swing failure pattern from a massive order block on the higher time frame, right? It's just claiming the lows of the range. It's a fair value gap. Keeping it simple, right? It's a fair value gap, regardless if you looked at the Elliott Wave analysis or not. There's a lot of longs and a lot of buying pressure gonna happen here from this order block on the higher time frame or the fair value gap. You don't want to lose this low. And there's going to be a lot of buying pressure here. A lot of it. So the thing about this long also had to do with Elliott Wave theory, not only because of the swing failure pattern. And it all had to do with the start of the drop. Because when you do zoom in on this drop, there wasn't a proper 5-wave structure on your first wave 1. It was a very 3-wave move. And a 3-wave move to the upside. And of course, with that conclusion, you realize that what you're developing here, regardless of a WXY or a WXY double zigzag move to the downside, made more sense here. Made more sense than actually a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5. It made more sense because of your first wave. There was no 5 waves to the downside. So you're not labeling it as your wave 1, you're labeling it as an ABC or a zigzag, so that automatically, you label it as a W. So thanks to this movement, and I was thinking we might sweep up the lows. It was more aggressive, but if you just nuke down from the lows, you don't long, right? We were very vocal on this. If you lose the damn low, don't get into a long, guys. If you lose the low, you don't get a reaction, an SFP, your long and your stop loss is at the low, you don't get into the long. If you lose the low, let the price go. Let it go. Let it go. Find another level. Oh, it's breaking this one. Well, let's see this one. Well, it's broken it. Well, let's see this one. This is the last level before your fair value gap, right? Which is right over here. So you just let it go. You let it go. You let it go until one of the levels gets a reaction, which eventually was the best one. You got this massive order block on the higher time frame, which eventually was the option to get into the long. So you need to take many things into consideration. Elliott Wave theory is going to give you the confidence in getting into the positions as well, right? Because people might just learn order block, swing failure pattern of the lows of the range, fair value gap, whatever. This was a very good long position for many without knowing Elliott Wave theory. But when you add the Elliott Wave theory into that fair value gap, into this range, you realize that this has low probability in forming a 5-wave structure down because of the initial move that you've had to the downside. And the same applies to this movement down. The same applies to this movement down. I think there is still a higher chance that we do claim that 105.5k because of this first move down that we've had that looks more 5-wavy. And we have many different scenarios. The triangle, so it's just a mix, right? You do mix many things to give you confidence on the trading setups. But once you have the knowledge, guys, and you know how the price moves and you got good risk management, trading is epic, guys. Trading is epic. It takes a lot of time. People really struggle to get into the zone. But once you know everything, and I don't have any indicators, guys, on the chart. You don't need them. CVD is good. Order flow is good. Just to see the trap longs and trap shorts, it's entertaining because it gives you a bit of a higher probability when you see, oh, there's lots of shorts entering here. We got bullish CVD divergence. You got higher lows on price action. Lots of shorts entering down here. And if you have a bullish case setup like the one mentioned at the beginning of the stream, then you realize that that there is actually a pretty high chance that we do get above 105.5k at some point. So yeah, this is why eating healthy, working out, doing cardio, have a healthy lifestyle is going to have your brain fresh to really look at the good opportunities. Stay grounded with your risk management. Never go all in on any trade. But yeah, guys, the people that stick around, if you stick around and you learn a lot from the analysis that we do, and you have good risk management, you're going to make it. You're going to make it. It's just a matter of time, dedication. And it's not about being right or wrong, guys. I'm wrong many times. Many times I'm wrong. If you're a legit follower, you know that I'm wrong a lot. Right? I'm also right a lot. But I'm also wrong many times. But like I said, if we were to break down from here and we nuke down like this, I have no problem with that. Okay, it's fine. I would have, I'm in a small short position. I will be making some gains. The long will be stopped out in this scenario, but I won't be getting wrecked. I am not longing and adding to position. If you're trading this range, you have stop losses, you have invalidations, and if it nukes down, let the price go. But you don't add to the long, and it's going to bounce at some stage, or we're going to reject at some point, and then the price moves up very aggressively. Don't trade like that, because you're going to get wrecked, right? We don't want to get wrecked here. And people think that if I'm wrong, I'm going to get wrecked, but that is not the case, right? I did get some salty comments, guys, on one of the video updates. My goodness, very, very salty comments, very, very bad. You're going to get wrecked, this, that, the other, you're wrong, you're a waste of time. And I'm like, wow. I'm just sharing my opinion. I don't want Anyway. To be precise, I marked it on my chart. Phantom, okay. We got a discussion here. Pac-Man, my man, much love to you. We got moderator power today. Pac-Man, Mark Dutch. The OGs are taking over. The moderators, OGs, are taking over. I'd rather see Andy taking his shirt off. Wow, yeah. Maybe on some stream that's going to happen. FUMC equal more dump. Yeah, this is the thing. We you know, the FUMC projection and the Fed press conference does have a bad reputation of, you know, creating a drop on the market, guys. So, you know, we want to be careful, especially longs. You know, my longs are protected. You know, you want to be cautious, guys, right? We never know what could be the outcome on the economic projections and the FUMC, right? The Fed press conference, interest rate decision. We never know, you know, what's the outcome here, right? So just stay defensive, let the storm happen, and tomorrow's another day, and we'll find another opportunity tomorrow, right? Just the markets are not going anywhere. They're here every day. Andy's fans, Mark Dutch, yes. Pac-Man, Mark Dutch, the legends. Shout out to you guys. You deserve many, many shout outs. Devilled also, as long as there is more love than hate, it's all good. Very true, Devilled. Very true. Very, very true. Elliott Wave theory is an advanced level of market structure. It is indeed. Lu Duang. It is indeed. The best traders in all the land are chart traders. In my opinion, they always know which way the market is going and catch every long and short. Well, not every long and short, but yeah. Stop fighting with the mods, kids. Yeah, we got, guys, I've got some powerful mods here, and they are not going to let anybody be a douche, okay? You'll get kicked out. Be nice. I'm here to be nice. You're here to be nice. XRP, Algo, HBAR. Proper utility coins instead of Napster. Algorand, I think, is an awesome project. And I do hold some Algorand, guys, in my portfolio. It's there in the dust. But wow, it's not having a good time. It will recover out of the ashes, guys. Don't worry. This is actually a very solid project. Algorand is one of them that I do see a realistic 10x in the future, regardless if it's at 10 cents or 15 cents. It doesn't matter. This is the moment that you know, would be nice to scoop up some Algorand. Algorand is an awesome project. It's the moment to buy, guys. When things want to go, they will go fast. They will go fast. It's just not the time. But yeah, if you want to try and get into solid projects, Algorand is a solid project in my opinion. Algorand will do very well in the future. There is room for many blockchain projects, guys, especially the good ones. Algorand's market cap is not too bad. Is it a couple of billion? Yeah, 1.4 billion. Still very small. This has 10-20 billion potential. Easy 10-20 billion at least. Anyway, legends, thank you very much for joining today's stream. Stay cautious. Later on, there's going to be many crypto YouTubers doing the FUMC economic projections press conference, right? News. I don't think I'll be going live. Stay cautious. A massive dump could happen. A massive pump could happen. Stay protected. I'm protected in the positions, okay? Nothing will happen to me. Just stay cautious if you have any trades open. If you are interested in trading, check out the deals that we have down below, guys. Weeks or bluffing. They do not require they just require an email and a password, all right? And you do have an incredible deal down below. On weeks, you do get 25% fee reduction on your trades, plus the $30,000 deposit bonus once you sign up. And also on bluffing, a great deal, 20% cash back. Stay safe, legends. Thank you very much for joining. Stay cautious. Today's a big day. We don't really know what the news is going to gonna happen. Pump and dump, dump and pump. We don't know, guys. Stay safe. Thank you for joining, and I will see you in the next one.